Hello everybody, I am the Black Sigma, or you could just call me Eric. And Larry... You're sure you heard the gunshot and remembered exactly what the DJ was saying? What did she say? Mr. Wright, please cease these pointless questions. What possible good could knowing what a radio DJ said do us? Indeed, Mr. Von Karma has a point. I'll allow the question only if you see some reason why we should care. I think we should. The DJ could have announced the time, or anything. Why? Well, how do you know if we don't ask? Fine, very well. Mr. Butts, please testify to the court. What was the radio announcer saying when you heard the shot? She said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas." Oh, almost Christmas? But that means it's not Christmas. That is genuinely a meme in the Phoenix Wright fanbase. Almost Christmas means it's not Christmas. Are you sure? Of course I am. She had this real sexy voice. Maybe Von Karma was right. I'm not sure how that helped us at all. This is the most ludicrous testimony I've heard. There's one gleaming ray of hope in there. I've got to press it until I get to the bottom of it. Well, I guess my best bet is the photo of the gunshot being on Christmas, even though Larry is saying it was almost Christmas. Yep. Larry, are you absolutely sure what you're saying is correct? Glad I found the right evidence for the meme. Huh? What's with the face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you're trying to scare me, you better know I don't scare that easy. Is something the matter, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, did you hear what the witness just said? Sorry, I'm going to clear my throat and cut it out of the video. The DJ said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," when he heard the gunshot. Indeed. And? Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. Huzzah. Do you realize what this means? When he heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve. That would seem to be the case, yes. But he should have heard that gunshot after midnight. This photograph is irrefutable proof of this fact. Let's see what the time was when this photo was taken when the gun triggered Ms. Hart's camera. 12th of the 25th, 0:15. 15 minutes after midnight on Christmas Day. This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor. Order. What does this mean? The two prior witnesses heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says he heard a gunshot before midnight. Judge, the answer is simple. The current witness is plainly mistaken. Just look at him. Suspicious. What? Well, Mr. Wright? What do you think about Mr. Butts' claim he heard the gunshot before midnight? He's right. Larry's not mistaken, Your Honor. He heard that gunshot before midnight. Intriguing. I'm assuming you have evidence for this wild claim. Show me evidence there was a gunshot before midnight. Easy. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. This was taken by our witness yesterday, Ms. Lotta Hart, with her automatic camera. The timestamp on the photo reads December 24th, 11:50 p.m. Oh? But there's nothing on the lake in this picture. Your Honor, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph. It is why this photograph exists at all. What do you mean? Your Honor, this photograph was taken by an automatic camera. The camera was set to go off in response to loud noises. Aha! Correct. There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 p.m. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, when Larry heard that gunshot, it was most definitely still Christmas Eve. Indeed, it would seem that is the case. Then where does that leave us? Ms. Hart testified that she heard the gunshots after midnight. Are you claiming she was mistaken? Not at all, Your Honor. It is the fact that the camera also triggered 15 minutes after midnight. Your Honor, that night there were 2 sets of gunshots with a 25-minute pause between them. Why would this be? Don't be fooled, Judge. The camera was set to respond to loud noises. Yes? There is no proof that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why, the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera. Hey, my nose was clear that night, man, clear. Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Can you prove that the loud noise at 11:50 p.m. was indeed a gunshot? Please show the court evidence if you have any. The time of death on the autopsy is not clear if it was the 24th or 25th when he was killed. And the murder weapon was fired 3 times. It's gotta be one of those 2. I could claim that the noise at the 24th was the shot that killed, and that this photo, whatever happened here, was not the murder. Or I could just point out the gun's been fired enough times. This is my evidence. The murder weapon. Something about this pistol was bothering me, Your Honor. Both of the witnesses who testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. When, then, was the last shot fired? Only now have I realized the truth. The 3rd shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight. Order, order. That would make sense of the evidence we've seen so far. However, this leaves me wondering what exactly did happen that night on the lake. Exactly. If this is true, there were 2 sets of gunshots, separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50, another 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you? Why? I don't know, better think of something quick. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes. Ah! What's wrong, Nick? I have it. I have it. Huh? Remember the case with the Steel Samurai? Huh? Yeah, of course I remember. The murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case. What do you mean? Maya? Yes? If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. I've got a hunch, and I'm going to run with it. Right. I mean, is this safe? Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict, we've got nothing to lose. You just watch and let me know if I say anything that sounds fishy, okay? Right, Nick? Your Honor? Yes, Mr. Wright. The testimony just now has cleared up this entire case. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? Tisk, tisk, tisk. So, you finally realized the truth? There can be no other murderer here than Miles Edgeworth himself? Wrong, Von Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting. Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired on that boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 meter, it couldn't have been suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on the boat. I admit it's hard to imagine another possibility. Yes, but this assumes that the victim was shot at 15 minutes after midnight. What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. The timestamp on the photo says 15 minutes after midnight, but Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. It's the only way Edgeworth could be innocent. Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who the two men on the boat are. I have an idea. If it was Edgeworth and Hammond, that wouldn't make sense. Hammond was already dead. If it was the murderer and Hammond, that'd just pin it on Edgeworth again, because, again, if Hammond was already dead, he shouldn't be on that boat. Meaning the two people were Edgeworth and the unknown murderer. Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth. What? Are you serious? Yes, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place. I'm not sure what to make of all this. Ludicrous. Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then. The murderer's name? Right, it's... No, I don't have evidence for that. You don't know? Bah, again you waste my time. I don't know because he never told us. The murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop, that old man. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond. The caretaker of the boat shop? Where did he do this? There weren't any boats on the lake then. Why would he have to go all the way out on the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest the real scene of this crime was not on a boat? What? Well then, where did the murder take place? At the boat shop, I guess. That way he could meet with the victim without anyone seeing. Do you have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the crime? Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. That night he was out on the lake in a boat, searching for something. He finds it and returns to the boat. Then, just as he's starting to head for home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honor, even though he was wearing headphones at the time. In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat? The boat shop. Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Yes, Your Honor. Nick, are you sure about this? Not really. But I think if I start at the very beginning and take it slow, I might just be able to figure this out. That night, the caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop. This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Then he got in the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake. Then who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright? The caretaker fired it. Of course it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth on purpose. Wait a minute. Yes? Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone? Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why he had to fire twice. To create a witness. I believe he shot twice to create a witness. The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Ms. Hart did exactly that after hearing the first gunshot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and he fires again. Then, he takes a dive off the boat, leaving the pistol in the boat behind him. I see. To someone looking from the edge of the lake, it would appear that one of the men on the boat had shot the other. You know, assuming the muzzle flash didn't light enough through the fog for the person witnessing it to realize this. The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice to draw attention to the boat. Once you realize that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop, then he put Mr. Hammond's wet coat back on the body, and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honor. These are the events that transpired that night on Gourd Lake. Bailiff, bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker, quickly. Very well, while we are waiting for the caretaker, I would like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions. Mr. Edgeworth, please take the stand. Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defense has said? Yes. Well, why did you go to the lake that night? What Wright has said was mostly correct. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago, I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond. He asked me to come to the boat shop by the lake at midnight on Christmas Eve. He said he had something very important to discuss with me. Something important? I'm sorry, I can't say what it was. Your Honor, sir! Bailiff, we are conducting a trial here. I ask that you remain quiet. The witness has disappeared. He isn't at the boat shop either. What? What should I do? Find him, quickly. We cannot allow him to get away. Uh-oh. Mr. Von Karma, your witness has disappeared. A search warrant has already been issued. Goes without saying that I cannot declare a verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request that the police department utilize all its forces to find that witness. Am I understood? One more thing. Just who is that boat shop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to this trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is. Very well. Court is adjourned. One more extension. The last we got. Yay, Nick, you did it! Yeah. Well, at least we got out from under that guilty verdict. And what about Larry? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out. Sure. Once I sifted through his unique testimony. Still, he did save us. Just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time. I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's us on trial instead of our clients. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth? Ugh. Did you say something? Don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably going to get off the hook. You could try to smile, just a little. Relax. I'm sorry, but I fear it's not over for me yet. What do you mean? Right. There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now. And I don't know whether or not to tell you. Edgeworth? No, there's so little time left. I want to tell you to get it off my chest, but... I can't make up my mind. What is this about, Edgeworth? It's a nightmare I've had. A memory of a crime that I committed. A crime you committed? A memory of a murder. Edgeworth? You killed someone? Or at least, you think you did? Enough for it to be a traumatic nightmare in your memory? But what other murder could Edgeworth have been a part of? I can only think of one. There's no way he committed that murder. But somehow he believes he did. And we will discuss that in the next episode. Bye.